one of the most annoying things about trying to learn a new strategy is when you're watching a tutorial and you can see the person is projecting their own experience onto the chart, and things that are super obvious to them might not be obvious to you. So an example of that is when someone is looking at highs and lows and they're like, all right, so let's go to the last low. We'll go to the last low and then we'll do this and that, blah, blah, blah. But they'll ignore like these lows in the middle or like this high or whatever. And you're just thinking, how do they know which ones to ignore and which ones to pay attention to? And that is just all of their experience and discretion, which just makes it basically impossible for you, if you're a beginner, to be able to duplicate what it is that they're doing. Preferably, you want to have things as mechanical as possible. And then as you train your own discretion, then you can start projecting that onto the chart. So one of the best ways that I've found of finding highs and lows is fractals. And that's what I'm using on here. And what they basically do is they look at the highest point in the past X number of candles or whatever it is. I've tried to code swing highs and swing lows loads of different times, and it is just it's just pretty much failed every time, because that's something that bots really struggle with. Because if you've got something that's going up and down here or whatever, it'll just get confused and then you'll start getting loads of false signals like we do here. And so even though fractals are one of the best, we still end up with areas like this, and there's just loads of them. There's just so many false signals. If we scroll back, let me turn this off because it's scrolling us forward. If we scroll back, you see that areas like this is just zigzagging up and down, and you can't see what the highs and lows are. So what I've done is I've coded something a little bit different. This particular strategy I got from Lewis Kelly, and what he said is, if we find a high point, we can find a point and then look for 3 candles that close in the opposite direction or beyond each other. So what I've got here, so you see how many signals there are on here. Here it is with my strategy instead. So you can see that it's a lot more defined, even though we still get signals inside of this kind of little flattish area. We're still not getting like all these different signals that are just going to confuse the heck out of you if you're trying to work on, say, the last low or whatever. You can see that this is a lot more defined with a high, low, high, low, high, low. And so the way that this is coded, as I said, you've got this here. This only appears, it is a lagging indicator. It appears after there have been 3 candles that close in the opposite direction beyond each other. So after this candle closes, that's when this arrow would appear. And so if we get, say, a horizontal line, they all have to close beyond each other. So this one's closed even lower, this one's closed even lower, and that's when that would appear. If we look at this one, so from here, we've got 1 down candle, we've got 2 down candles, this one's closed below the other one. But then when we look at this third one, it actually closes higher than the previous. So we would ignore that and wait for this one that actually closes lower. So on this one, this is actually the third candle that goes below. So that's when this signal would appear. We can also increase that number, but I've found that, well, we can increase or decrease the number of candles that it's looking for, but I found that 3 tends to be the best. If we look at the settings, we can change this number to like 5, and you can see that it doesn't have as many in between, but it misses out on stuff like this. The reason for that is that when it's found this high, it's looking for 5 candles to close in the opposite direction below each other, and we've only got 1, 2, 3. So this would have worked if we were doing 3, but the fact that it's doing 5, it's missing signals. We can turn it down as well, but a lot of the time that's also going to cause issues. So if we turn it down to only 2 candles that close in the opposite direction, then we're ending up with more false signals and we're missing out on stuff like this. So I have really found that 3 tends to be the best number for this indicator. If you don't use MetaTrader for your signals and for your indicators, then let me know in the comments if you want me to code something like this for for TradingView as well. If enough people are interested in that, then I'll probably do it for you guys. So that's all I wanted to show you for now. If you want to get this indicator, there is a link in the description. If you add yourself to my mailing list, I can give you this indicator to work on your MetaTrader 5. I'll just give it to you for free for now. So yeah, if you're interested, check the link in the description. Thanks.